So guys, we know it's hot. Well, not in here, usually. But once we head outside, it's like our skin is about to melt off. And the thing is, this is just June. It's only going to get hotter from here. So this interview is very relevant for the summer and beyond. We're talking about heat stroke causes, risks, and preventative measures with family physician, Dr. Suzanne R. Scott. Dr. Sue, she's affectionately called. You don't use a double barrel anymore, miss?
I do it, but I mean, they only had one name on the, when I walked in, so I just left them.
Mine at R. Scott. Okay, I just put that in there for you. So, have you been seeing a lot of folks for heat stroke?
Well, this is a time of year when it's really bad, and I think that as the years progress and we have more global warming, we're going to have more and more instances. And as we're cutting down the trees to expand the roads, we're not planting any trees on the side. So this is my plea to the government authorities that please, as you expand, please put back some trees in, because the temperature in the city is going to go up exponentially.
Mm-hmm. It's all inextricably linked, isn't it? The trees,
Correct.
with the this, with the that, with the...
And as we have more and more cement, the buildings are getting taller and taller, global warming is real.
Wow. Okay, so when we talk about heat stroke, Doc, what are we really talking about?
Well, you can divide, if you look at the definition, it's stroke symptoms related to heat. And for us as human beings, we like to function somewhere around 96 degrees, 97 degrees Fahrenheit, or 36 degrees centigrade. Once you get up to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, that temperature, core temperature alone, will define you as heat stroke. And if you are maintained at 104 degrees for any length of time, minutes, for small children and very elderly, they can rapidly decompensate. And that will then present as stroke-like symptoms. And if it's sustained, they can die. So for the most part, initially they will feel confused. They can start to get very dehydrated. They start to have a rapid heart rate, a rapid breathing, and eventually become unconscious and can have seizures.
Wow, and you're saying the time between when that starts to manifest and when it could get really dangerous is about?
Can be as little as 10 minutes.
Wow. All right, so if you're looking for symptoms, I think Doc just outlined a few. So it's high body temperature, we're talking about 104. Mm-hmm. And I noticed you mentioned kids and the elderly, which is who we really need to be looking out for during this period, right?
But kids and the elderly are at the most risk.
Okay.
But anybody who is working out in the sun is also at risk. So construction workers, anybody who is a laborer in the farms and so on. And a lot of them, particularly for our farming community, you're elderly, you're on medication, whether for hypertension or diabetes, and you're working in the sun. So therefore you have 3 risk factors that will make you more at risk.
Yeah.
And for the very young, if they're drug users, if they're on antidepressants, if they're on medication for attention deficit disorder, they're at risk. So you really need to sit down with your doctor when you're cool and calm and collected and say, I noticed when I took my medicine last week and I went to work, somewhere around 11 o'clock, I felt weird.
Gotcha.
And I didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And maybe they need to stop some of the medication and change it, or advise you what to do, how to recognize when you're getting into trouble and what you can do.
To log like what's been going on with you, so that when the doctor says, so how frequently does this happen? When
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Is there a particular time of day during
11 to 3.
Okay.
11 to 3. 11 to 3. In the Mediterranean countries, we all know that they have this thing called siesta. And the siesta really speaks to a time of the day when everyone comes away from their workplace. So they've modified their lifestyle culturally to acknowledge that between 11 and 3 it is extremely hot. And in the Mediterranean climate, where there are not a lot of trees and it's dry, this works. But culturally, in the Caribbean, we really don't do that. But if we can really get as much work done between 6 and 11, and maybe break, and then go back 3 to 7, we will be better served.
Okay. So high body temp, altered mental state or behavior, alteration in sweating. Wow. Says it feels like your skin will be dry to the touch.
Dry. Normally when you are having heat stroke, your brain interprets the fact that you're so hot that they need to cool down. So the skin becomes very, very dry, and the patient feels they're hot and dry, and this is a bad. If you as a onlooker see someone like that, recognize it for what it is, get them into a shady area, cool them down with whatever. You have your bottle of water, you have a towel, whatever. You have some Lucozade and it's wet, it's cool. Wet them up and get them to care.
The body overheated and nothing coming through the glands, so that's a problem.
Correct.
Nausea and vomiting, flushed skin, rapid breathing, racing heart rate. Let's talk about some of the things that we can do, Doc. You spoke about hydrating a while ago. Very important.
Hydrate, and not with maybe cold water, but body temperature water.
Okay, why not cold water?
Because sometimes they're not able to auto-regulate for it.
Okay. Clothing?
Clothing loose, cotton, nothing constricted. If the person is, we have another problem in Jamaica right now with our bleachers. And what they do is they cover up. So they're have on a hoodie, they have on long sleeves, they have on tall socks, and they're all covered up and they're out in the sun. They're at risk because their core temperature is going to go up suddenly and they're going to get into trouble. So you need to strip them off, strip them right down and cool them down as quickly as possible.
Well, the folks who bleach, the direct exposure to the sun is another issue.
Correct.
For those of us who are not doing that, the exposure to the sun is also a risk. Should we be wearing sunblock?
Sunblock.
Kids, sunblock them?
Sunblock. Give them a big hat and take them out of the sun between 11 and 3.
Okay, gotcha. Exertion in hot weather, so try and take your time as much as you can. And for the folks who drink alcohol...
Bad idea. Alcoholic encephalopathy is worse.
Say that again?
Inflammation of your brain, which we call alcoholic-induced encephalopathy. So those people who have the daytime parties, so they're out in the sun, and then they imbibe alcohol. Every time they have one of those parties, we have an uptick in admissions because people pass out. Oh, they drink too much, but it's more than that. Not only have they drank too much, but they're also probably suffering from heat stroke.
Did you hear that, guys? I did not know that. That's a very good word you just gave to us, Dr. Sue. Final one that I want to talk about, I think is important. Leaving children in leaving anybody in a parked car at this point is a bad plan.
Bad idea. Within 10 minutes, the car can go up with 20 degrees. So, and if you think about it, if your natural temperature is 97 and the point at which you have heat stroke is 104, that's only 6.5 degrees. And the car will increase in temperature by 20 degrees in 10 minutes. It's a recipe for death. Within 10 minutes, that child will be dead, even if you crack the windows, and you park the car under the shade. The car itself absorbs the heat because of the metal. So it's almost manslaughter.
Don't even think about it. I mean, I hear people leaving their handbags in the car, and some people even on social saying, oh, I forgot my child in the car. Please don't forget your child in the car. Ever, but particularly not this summer, because as Doc said, it's a serious thing, could cause death. Final words from you, Dr. Sue, as we wrap it up? Prevention.
Know your body, listen to it. Be mindful of your friends and your neighbors and the colleagues around you. If you have to work in the sun because that's your job, listen to look at your friend. Is your friend talking foolishness? Did they collapse? Whatever it is, pay attention and let us all be our brother's keeper.
Nice note on which to end. Thank you very much, Doc. Appreciate it. Family physician, Dr. Suzanne Minot Scott. Stay with us. We're going to lighten things up when we come back from this break. Thanks, Doc.
You're welcome.
I did not know there was an uptick in...